Welcome to the Foster Friendly Podcast, where we come together to make a difference in the lives of children in foster care and the families who care for them. Foster Friendly communities are part of a nationwide movement by America's Kids Belong that helps people from all walks of life take action and help kids and families thrive. You'll hear from former foster youth, foster and adoptive parents, social workers, faith and business leaders, and other experts on how to engage in meaningful ways. Our hosts Brian, Travis, and Courtney explore inspiring stories of everyday people making a difference in foster care where they live and work.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Foster Friendly Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Mavis, with my co-host, and Travis, I forgot to think of an adjective. I am really slacking on that lately.
Off the hook today, then.
So with my bald co-host, Travis.
There we go.
Yeah, so I like to give my adjectives to every episode. And I usually have some that aren't easily understood. Because
we never know what they mean.
Rare words, but everyone knows what bald is. And so shaved head.
Shaved head, there you go.
Shaved, yeah. So, and today, oh man, we have a special guest. And people who are listening to this are going to say, I love where she works. And we have a lot of fans of this particular restaurant. So today our guest is Callie Priest, and she's the director of strategic partnerships for WindShape Homes. And people are like, well, what's WindShape Homes? Well, WindShape was founded in 1987 by Chick-fil-A's founders, Truett and Jeanette Cathy. And so now people are like, okay, Chick-fil-A, they're tuning in now. And so we're going to learn about WindShape and what they do. But in general, kind of a 30,000-foot view, it was founded with the hope of creating a supportive environments for children who have faced challenging circumstances in foster care. And so, Callie, really grateful to have you join us today and learn about your work. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on this podcast. You guys are world-renowned and incredible podcast, and so the invitation has been.
Yes.
I've been so excited to get
okay, you're doing
on this with you guys.
Off to a good start.
So you're a great guest so far. Yes.
No, that's good. That's good.
Right.
No, thank you for the intro. That's right. So WindShape and Chick-fil-A and just an incredible legacy that I get to be a part of stewarding.
Yes, and to our listeners, I was just right before we hit record complaining to Callie because I've never been to WindShape, and everybody I know seems to have been there. And so it's not Callie's fault. It's all my friends who somehow I don't get the invite. Yeah. So I'm looking for, this is just going to whet my appetite even more. But before we get into some of the serious stuff, we've got some youth group questions, ice break stuff. Okay. Yes. So first of all, I've got to know.
I wasn't nervous. Now I'm a little nervous about
Yeah. So truth or dare, here we go.
Okay.
No, I got to know, have you ever worn the cow costume?
I have never worn the cow costume, but so our office is here at the Chick-fil-A Support Center. So we have a main campus, our retreat foundation campus up in Rome, Georgia. Beautiful, amazing. We're going to have you there.
Okay.
We have the privilege. Our WindShape Home staff gets to office out of the Chick-fil-A Support Center here in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So I will say, Brian, when you come visit us, I have not worn the Chick-fil-A cow costume, but there is one right outside.
Another bucket list item I get to check off.
Yes,
all right.
We might put you in it if you
need that.
If you come here, so yes.
We need
You're good at this. You're good at this. Youth group questions. Okay, I've got another one. And Travis, you can answer this one too. What is your go-to sauce?
Chick-fil-A sauce all day long. That's easy.
Okay. All right.
That's a softball, Brian. Come on. I mean,
really?
Really? Isn't
it? You guys, no adventure. And
close second though is the buffalo sauce. So close second is the buffalo sauce. It's
okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the siracha guy.
Oh, you're the sriracha guy. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Travis, what are you?
I said the same as you, but I forgot about sriracha. I love sriracha, so I'm switching mine.
Yeah, it's got a nice little I mean, not only a little heat but a little sweet on that one. So I'm a big
Yep,
fan
that's a
of
good
that.
one. Yeah,
So yeah, to our listeners, you're welcome to know about the sriracha sauce. It's gonna change your life.
exactly.
Okay. So thanks for playing along.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So yeah, Travis, let's get a little bit more
All
serious
right,
here.
well,
Just steer
we'll
the ship a
dive
bit.
in.
Okay.
Okay,
Cow
sweet.
costumes and Chick-fil-A sauce. That's a good way to start a
Yes. Yep.
podcast. Yeah.
It is fun
Yeah.
times. Okay, so we'd really love to hear what give us a little bit more of your backstory on yourself and your family and how you came to engage in foster care, Callie.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background actually is not in the foster care space. So I am a little bit of a weirdo in and rogue in this space. So I came to WindShape Homes about 3 years ago, and prior to that, I actually have had a career in nonprofit leadership and then in local church ministry, specifically in global strategy and global partnership development. So prior to coming to WinShape, I felt a call to be in ministry. I love the local church. I love pouring my life into the local church and serving the saints and equipping them for the work of ministry. And primarily had kind of focused my career and become an expert in global partnership development. So where is the church? Where do people have access to the gospel in the world? Where do they not have access to the gospel in the world? And then how can we make sure that they do have it? So I dedicated 15, 20 years of my life to that. And in a unique season of my life of serving the local church, obviously came into proximity with foster care, adoption, had many partners even in our city, from Birmingham, Alabama originally. So that's where I've even served in the local church there. So, was part of I guess what you would say, mobilizing the church in small ways, to engage our neighbors well and to consider foster care. I don't think, though, that I really had a good understanding and honestly, even an awareness to how to even steward my life into faithfulness for vulnerable children and families until our church. We did a series actually where our pastor, for about a year, we spent a time of just repentance and prayer and study of God's word, of what it meant to actually make disciples, to love our neighbors, to give our lives for the sake of others, in our families, in our city, and around the world. And I remember one Sunday he had the local DFACS leader come on a Sunday morning. And she talked about our county. She talked about the need that we had. I think at that time there were about 120 kids that were, in our county in the system. And then so, our pastor did the whole guys, we need to engage, and how are we going to do this? And then I think we had 350, 400 people show up 2 weeks later for a meeting, that we partnered with our local DFACS, leaders in. And we had tons of families that, got licensed, began the process of becoming foster parents. Interesting enough, though, like a few years later, I remember standing in the hallway of our children's ministry, and one of those friends of mine that they had, engaged in the work of foster care, she was like, Callie, I haven't been to church in 6 months because my kid keeps getting kicked out of preschool ministry. And so you guys called us into this and yet weren't ready and equipped actually to receive. And so my little story and thread of understanding foster care has really been in the church leadership space, and realizing it's such a big reality when you mobilize people into foster care. So I really 3 years ago when WindShape Homes began a conversation with me. WindShape Homes was kind of in this unique season of needing some different strategy and growth reality. And so, again, not an expert in foster care. I'm not. That's what's so weird about why I'm even here at WindShape Homes. But what I am an expert at is strategy, development, partnership, and then how to mobilize the local church specifically into the work that God has asked his people to engage in. So I'm super passionate about the people of God mobilized into the purposes of God. And this is a clear, distinct call that God has given his people to engage, to care for vulnerable families and children. So doing that here in Atlanta, and got some incredible churches that have partnered with WindShape Homes, aligned churches that are desiring to bless the city and to bless families and to open their homes to be foster parents. And so it's been a joy. I'm a little bit of the idiot in the room again here at WindShape Homes, and I love that because I get to kind of raise my hand and say, do we have to do it this way? Why is this so complex? What is this? It's a very complex reality. I tell my team all the time, honestly, it feels easier for me to think about how do we plant churches in a place like Somalia. But then engaging in the foster care system has been a real eye opener for me of how unique and complex it is. I'm excited. It feels like this time of redemptive history, there's just a lot of good things that are happening and movements and people that are engaged in this space that I'm so hopeful for just the kingdom realities that are happening, especially in our city here in Atlanta and throughout the state of Georgia right now. So that's a little bit about me. I'm an Auburn grad, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
But yeah, so again, interesting kind of, I'm not a foster parent. I am just a faithful Christ follower that's wanting to help mobilize people into this space to bring more redemptive narratives into foster care and to support those that are doing it.
Part of what you said reminded me of a book title. You were talking about kind of not being the knowledgeable one in the room, but there's a book called Rookie Smarts. It's this idea of why like learning is better than knowing. And because you can, like, you ask those questions that everybody just assumes, like, well, this is just the way it is. And so, there are advantages to coming in and having that fresh perspective for sure.
Yeah, I just wrote that book down, so I'm definitely going to.
I thought you were going to say, Brian, the book, The Medici Effect, which you and I've geeked out on, which is similar in that it says, like, the greatest innovation happens at the intersection of fields. Kind of that same whole thing, too, of like,
So you're going to come out with a new book budget on Amazon. So
I've hired some really amazing people on my team that are one young man on my staff actually is a former foster youth. He does all of our marketing and branding. He's our voice. Others that are on my staff, fostered, adopted, an incredible team. And so, it's been really fun to just build a team around me, even that are experts in this space.
People with lived experience.
But then allow me to kind of bring our strategy mind and our church-centric mind and reality to this space of foster care.
Okay. All right. So let's help our listeners and me too, honestly, to understand more about, WindShape Homes and what you guys, what your services you have, what programs you have. And a question I always like to ask is, what does winning look like?
Yeah.
And so fill us in on what WindShape Home does.
Yeah, so you did a great job of introing it. So WindShape Homes is one of the 5 ministries of the WindShape Foundation. So WindShape Foundation was established by Truett and Jeanette Cathy, same founders of Chick-fil-A, same founders of our foundation. There's actually multiple programmatic realities within the foundation that a lot of people have heard of: WindShape camps, WindShape marriage retreats, college program, multiple things, creating experiences where God can transform people. But in 1987, WindShape Homes was established, Truett Cathy had just a real desire to care for vulnerable families and children, even with some unique stories of his family and background. And so he just had a really good lens for seeing the vulnerable around him. And God had blessed him with resources and success. And so his whole purpose was to then be able to meet the needs with the resources that God was giving him. And so he, though, realized it was a pretty major crisis, of vulnerable around the world and in the nation and here in the state of Georgia. And so he decided that one of the ministry arms that they wanted to establish was a group care model. And so there was actually a group care program that was started in 1987. That was the very first model of care for WindShape Homes. And so he built beautiful homes. He found 2 two parents that he would hire, a family. So think a traditional group care like program where family model children were able to be placed in these homes for relational permanency, for stability, and then for a future. So our programmatic reality was to give them stability, safety, relational permanency, and then even help them like propel into the future. So college is paid for, ongoing support. We have generations now of kiddos that have come through our group homes that return home that, for Christmas and Thanksgiving. There's now grandkids and great grandkids that many of our families have. And so we still actually have that model today. And there are 9 homes that we have spread out through Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama. Incredible parents, especially trying to prevent kids from going into the foster care system. So that's a private placement model that we take referrals from all over the nation to help, examples of grandmother, 92-year-old grandmother raising 15-year-old grandson, has cancer, and there needs to be a long-term plan and has no other support. And so, WindShape Homes is able to step in and receive that child to keep, relational contact with grandmother, but also to have an opportunity to have stability for the future. Partner with DFACS, partner with other community partners for those referral processes, but incredible opportunity to care well for kiddos that are in our home. Interesting enough, though, that model that is very good, and we feel like we have one of the best models of care when it comes to group care. The state of Georgia, though, back in 2016, 2017, I think there were about 15,000 kids that were in the system at that point. So next generation of Cathys that were leading WindShape Homes realized that our group care model is not easily reproducible. It's something that's not easily we can't multiply it. It's expensive. It's a certain type of model. But how are we going to engage in the crisis of our state? And so actually began to research and decided that becoming a child placing agency, so partnering with the state to become a licensed CPA, so that we could mobilize Chick-fil-A team members, that we could mobilize believers and partner with churches into this space to actually open their own individual homes to foster. And so became a child placing agency with the state of Georgia in 2017. And that's kind of, the new model basically of care that we have. And so able to mobilize more people into this space to become foster parents. Incredible opportunities that we have as well is that we were able to start our clinical care program. And so through the resources that we have an in-house clinical team. So every child that's placed in a home in our group care program, but then also in our foster care program, has access to our therapeutic services, our clinical care team. Every family that's fostering with us is supported through that clinical team, 24-hour access to them. And that 2:00, in the morning call when things aren't going well, like you've got access to your clinician, incredible case managers, incredible staff that support them. And then on top of that, we also then have basically our church partnership program and model where we're mobilizing people to care well for people that are fostering. And so as we are opening foster families, we want to make sure there's good care communities that are around them to stabilize and make sure they're doing it for a long time and that they're doing it in a healthy way. And so, hopefully as churches are onboarding into this, then we're putting care communities in those churches that are wrapping around, those families that are fostering. So 2 pillars, foster care, our group care, and then supporting them through our clinical care services and our care community partnerships that we have. So.
Yeah, that's so for our listeners, we have listeners who are old pros and others who are just learning. So yeah, one of the advantages of going with an agency like yours is that you can get that extra care, that clinical care that in some cases you don't get when you're working through the government, and then some agencies just don't have the resources you guys have. So help me understand a little bit more about your working with the churches, though. I'm still trying to get some clarity on that. Tell me.
Yeah, so our main kind of mobilization of foster families is to partner with a local church and to raise awareness of the need in our community, partnering with pastors, partnering with those local ministry leaders in those local churches. And so we form partnerships specifically in our counties of service that we're able to
Mm,
serve. And we try our hardest not to see the church as a transactional partner. We
Great. Yeah.
really value the local church. I believe that the church is the agent in which God is accomplishing His mission in the world, and so we see ourselves as experts, in child welfare, and so we partner alongside a church to help them understand the need in our community, even understand the biblical, theology of foster care, how the gospel intersects. And so we do a lot of work of development and friendship and ministry partnerships. So that it's less transactional of give us your people and your resources.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
want to apply our resources and apply our people to that local fellowship. So then we are able to see families mobilized out of a healthy church, ready
mm,
to foster. And then as they use us as the agency, to help license, to train, to support. Then we are also in that meantime, as we're mobilizing families to become foster families, we are actually with the church helping them create a foster care framework, a care community structure. How do you
mm,
Mm.
budget? How do you staff? Like, what do your volunteers look like? How can we help resource and actually help you develop a foster care ministry inside your church as we are helping your families become foster families?
Okay.
So kind of this give and take, of like we want to mobilize people to partner with us as agency, but also we want to pour in to make sure that they're cared for well. Trying to mobilize more respite families, to
mhm,
make sure a
Hmm.
family has a group of respite families to care for them, making sure their physical, spiritual needs are met as they're fostering. And then even doing like trauma training with them. How do you become a trauma informed church? And so
Hmm.
mm,
it's been incredible. Our churches, we've got about 31 church partnerships here in the Atlanta area. Incredible churches in all varying degrees,
mhm.
Yeah.
of foster care ministry as is. And we've really been blessed. God's been really kind to WindShape Homes to bring on incredible leaders and churches to engage in this work here that we have.
Great.
Hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool to see continue to grow and expand and do
Hmm.
new things. And so, speaking of new things,
Yeah.
you guys have launched a brand new podcast, right? Earlier this year.
We have.
The
Yes.
WindShape Homes podcast. I've checked it out. It's really great. You guys are off to an awesome start. Tell us about it, the vision behind it, all that.
Yeah. So a few years ago, my staff, we were sitting in one of those brainstorming meetings of why are there's so many barriers? Like we're just, kind of hitting some barriers of calling people into this and even engaging churches in this. And as we were praying and thinking, like realized that awareness really was a big barrier that we have specifically in our community. And so we begin to just kind of think and pray. All right, what can we do about this? How can we raise more awareness? There's plenty of information out there, but how do we get it to people? What kind of stuff do we want people to have? And began to realize, besides y'all's podcast, that many of the podcasts or information and resources that were out there were really, really good. But a lot of the narrative in this space is how hard, how difficult, even kind of advocacy voice, which is very good. But we realized there was some opportunity to add a more redemptive narrative
Mm.
to this story. And so began to just pray like, okay, how can we add a better story of foster care into this space? And so that's where the podcast idea came out is how do we bring our friends, into the studio and just talk about like the gospel threads of foster care? How do we talk about the redemptive narrative that yes,
Hmm.
it is hard. There we are inviting people into suffering and inviting people into trauma as you open your homes for foster care, and God is present, and Christ is for us, and
Hmm.
Christ has
Hmm.
given us what we need to to do this. And so that's our aim. Honestly, we have had a blast. It has been so much fun. Jamie Finn was our first guest. We've
Hmm.
got Peter Mutabazi. I mean, I know
Hmm.
these are people
Hmm.
that Jason Johnson, who's been on your
Hmm.
podcast. I mean, so just a lot of our friends in this space that are willing to offer, just kind of a different lens in some ways that I think has really been helpful. actually had an email come through about 2 or 3 weeks ago from one of our foster moms. That's a WindShape foster mom. Incredible family. Just, have been fostering for a few years now. And she said, Callie, this was the podcast that we needed when we first started thinking about should we open our home to do fostering. And
Awesome.
she said it was just one of those things where we needed this. And so I'm so thankful that people have it now to just even begin to consider.
Very cool.
Should they step into this? So we've got a whole season recorded. So we're, releasing a few episodes now. And we've got so we went to CAFO a few months ago in Houston, Texas, CAFO being, one of the big conferences in our space, and actually did live recording on the trade show floor. It was so much fun. So a lot of the keynote speakers we got to have on, and so that's season 2 that'll get released kind of at the end of the year. So
that was smart. All right.
Yeah. We knocked it out. I know, we literally knocked out
we should have done that, Travis. But
we weren't that smart.
No,
that's all right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have you guys on there at some point, though. So again, when you come to Atlanta, we'll make sure it happens.
There you go, Brian.
Yeah, as long as I get to put on that cow suit
for the podcast. We need that. Yeah, right. Brian with the
interviewing.
It's totally on brand. That's on brand for Brian.
Yeah. That's so good idea. Good idea.
Yeah. No, it's been a lot of fun. We're hoping to see this as like an opportunity to generate just even more resources too, specifically for
for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned CAFO, and for some of our listeners, that stands for Christian Alliance for Orphans, and they have a annual conference, and they do other work. So you've connected with them. You've helped us with you guys hosted one of our video programs, I Belong Project, at your headquarters, and I think you've got some other like collaborative works and partnership. And I'm actually at a conference right now, kind of that's all around figuring out how to work together, collaborating. So I'd love to hear more, especially since it sounds like God has kind of gifted you this way when it comes to developing things and strategizing. What do you see happening in terms of collaboration in the space of foster care? I think people are trying, but it's challenging.
Yeah, it is. It's never easy, I think, to collaborate when you have your own programming, your own brand, your own like even vision and strategy for what you're trying to accomplish. But I really do believe that collective impact really is important to consider. One of the things that, we kind of view at WindShape Homes is this just ecosystem idea. That's not a new term, for you and your audience, but it is, I think, helpful because WindShape Homes has been given a vision. We have a vision. We have a mission. We know what we need to do. We, who we are, we're a part of the intervention piece of kind of the continuum of care. Mm-hmm. And, intervention, preservation, that's our sweet spot. That's who we are. But in this space of child welfare, it is so complex. We want to do everything, right? But we know that this lever has to be pulled in order for this to succeed. And so we really know, we're dependent upon other organizations, and we're dependent on best in class, organizations that are doing things well, and we need their help. And so partnering with like a CAFO or partnering with, America Kids Belong, Georgia Kids Belong, people are always asking us, we want to adopt, through foster care. And I love being able to say, hey, go check out our friends at Georgia Kids Belong, America Kids Belong, and watch the I Belong. So that's just an easy resource that we don't have the ability to produce, and we love what you're doing. And so why not? We're aligned, in what we're trying to accomplish. And so making sure that, we just have healthy ecosystems around us to help accomplish, again, just this forward motion of better care, better outcomes for kids, a stronger foster care, ecosystem. It takes all of us. There's multiple partners that we have. CAFO is our biggest alliance from a global standpoint, gives us opportunity to be in spaces and around others that are smarter than us and that do things even better than us to help strengthen us. We partner with organizations like 4Others, to help kind of think through just even on a national level, how are we engaged, especially to help governments think through what they're doing, and how can we apply dollars and investment strategies, and again, bring the business community into this. So all of that, matters. It's not necessarily our mission, our vision, but it matters, in this big space that we benefit from. So really thankful that there are some really healthy organizations in this space that we get to collaborate with. So yeah. And it's fun.
Yeah.
You get to be with your friends to do the work together. So
yeah, and like you said, this work has a lot of challenges to it. Partly because the system is, everybody complains about the system being broken, and it's like, well, it's a challenging place to step into because you're dealing with people with some deep wounds and brokenness, and there is this it's one of the few things the government says, hey, we need our citizens to volunteer. I mean, they don't ask us to go out and fix the roads,
Right.
And so they're saying, hey, could you open up your heart and home to a child who's in a family that's suffering right now. And so it's a challenging thing. And I think, there's some great people and great organizations. And I think a lot of us came in like, we're going to be, the answer. And it doesn't take long before like, oh gosh, this is way harder than I thought it was, be way bigger than I realized. And we do need each other.
Right.
And so to have, to be able to point to other organizations, be able to talk to other organizations, to help each other out, is super important in order to, move the needle and make a difference.
I think one of the things I've been surprised by, again, kind of as I've stepped into this space, is actually the competitive nature of organizations. I don't know if you guys experience that or not.
Oh,
what?
Yeah.
I know, it's so interesting. I actually, it's actually a discouragement that I have to fight and even keep my team from being discouraged, because it's interesting. Yeah.
Okay, let's get
real here.
Exactly. You just took the words right out of my mouth. Let's get real. Okay, listeners, buckle up. Yes, I was trying to be nice and saying there are great organizations and there are people who are really wanting to collaborate, but it's true. And I want, if you're leading a nonprofit, please have that perspective. I mean, I agree with Callie that, as one of my board members who's very involved in the business government kind of sector, he said, I've never seen a sector this competitive outside of the energy industry, where they dig for oil. You think, it's like, why are you being competitive? There's like, you're not getting rich doing this and you need the help. And so it's true. There are people out there organizations that are competitive. I'll let you know that is a losing proposition for everybody involved. So this is bigger than any of us can, and we need each other.
Agreed.
And so, thanks for getting it real there.
Yeah, well, it's been surprising. Again, I'm thankful for WindShape Homes. I'm thankful for the organization that I get to serve and lead in. And one of the things that we have decided is that because of the generosity of the Cathy family and their desires to make us a significant shift in this space, to add value, we've decided that our board, our leaders, like we want to be a leader in setting the table of cooperation. And so that's something that we actually take very seriously. We do a number of things to make sure that's happening. We have a few events that we even do where it is an opportunity for us to collectively work together. And again, we can't do everything, but we've decided that we can at least set the table. We can at least set the table of hospitality, set the table where there can be constructive cooperation. And I think that there's some opportunities, especially in this space, to continue to do that really well. So I'm hopeful for that. I think that's something, we feel confident that we can do well. And
yes. But I want to affirm all that. Please keep leaning into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But discouraging is the right word too. You said that because I mean, Brian, you know it from a high up level at AKB, but I've seen even in our state in South Carolina some things where potentially,
Yes.
I mean, collaborations were going to happen that didn't, and at the end of the day, like you're like, okay, we both have this common goal, the kids being at the forefront. At the end of the day, when you see someone like get ugly or fall away or whatever, it's like, what is that? Like, is this your identity is so tied to this mission that if it makes you disappear, which ultimately, I mean, if it's for the, you know, you don't want any part of that, or I mean, just the turf war part of it, the egos, the man, it's tough.
Yeah, we tried.
I mean,
You're reminding me now, Travis. Yeah, Callie, we tried to like, hey, can we come into South Carolina? We think we could really help and serve you guys. And Travis, we ran into what Travis calls the foster care mafia.
I mean, just keeping it real, okay? I mean, there's something going on.
I'm gonna use that actually now.
Because that's really what it seemed like. Because everything else, yeah.
Well, I think again, just some observations I've made. I think it's all out of like good intention. I think it's out of honestly preserving what you know is right and true. But this is a space that preservation, like we cannot worry about our brand and our name and even our models. I know that sounds weird. Like there's enough need and enough opportunity for experts and for learning and for, again, collaborating, and collaboration is hard. It takes energy. It takes follow through. It takes common vision. It's not easy. It is not for the faint of heart.
Right.
And so, but to create barriers is a whole other thing, to prevent.
Yeah.
Well put. Yeah. Well, so this took a turn that I didn't expect, but I'm glad we went here because it was like, it needs to be said.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and again, I'll finish by saying this. I think the dollar is oftentimes the motivator.
Yeah.
And I think I am challenged by, that is not going to get us anywhere if we're competing for the dollar at the end of the day. This is the souls of human beings that we are engaged in the work of. And so making sure the right priorities and, I know no margin, no mission. That's important. We understand that. But at the end of the day, this is not a marketplace reality. This is the souls of individuals that we have been tasked to create services, programs, opportunities, pathways, all the things that we know to care well. And so if we're not about that business, we might need to check ourselves at the door. So,
well, I'm so glad that you said that, keeping it real, but also because I do feel like you guys have the reputation of being great hosts and like opening up your doors to other organizations and saying, how can we bless you? So very grateful for that.
Thank you. Yeah. And again, we'll have you here. We'll put the cow costume on.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, I'm glad we got it we have the main point, keep getting the refrain happening here.
So, well, trying to move forward from that, which was a great segment. I really, that was, I love that, and challenging and encouraging at the same time. Callie, we like to ask our guests this question sort of as we get to the ending point of this podcast, but how would you finish this sentence? What kids in foster care really need is?
Listen, that's a good question. Do you ask all your guests this?
Yes.
A variation of that. Yeah.
What a great question. Yeah. So again, from my lens and bends, what I believe every child needs is Christ. I mean, that's what and so again, I know that that's kind of our lens and our vision is we want to see families and children experience healing and restoration through the gospel. And so that's what we believe. And that's what, I think that's where we pour our lives for that ambition. They need a lot, but access, I think, to the gospel. I think that means stable families and families that are willing to sacrifice their lives for a child to be in their home is what a child in foster care needs.
Yeah, I just met two young adults who were raised in foster care. Essentially, one was trafficked when she ran away. The other one, again, spent most of his life as a foster youth, and they both just credit like, hey, and now like one's in college, one graduated. They're doing well, and they both credit it's like it was Christ who gave them like, oh, someone, you know, God loves me, and so maybe I can care about myself too. Like God thinks I'm worth it. So they started seeing value to like, okay, maybe my life isn't a waste and it's meaningful. So that's so good.
That's less proselytizing. That's not even what that means, but a family that understands and is ready and opening their home because
totally. Yeah. And that's,
whatever the outcome is of a child, but the fact that they've been in a Christ-centered home, that sacrifice piece is knowledge and understanding and care.
I imagine it exists, but I don't think I have ever met a family who said, I'm doing this in order to they're like, I'm doing this because I am a Christian, not because I'm trying to make a Christian.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great way. Yeah. That's a great way to say it. Yeah.
All right. So tell our listeners how they can learn more about WindShape Homes and what the services are available. What would you recommend for people?
So our website, windshapehomes.org, very simple. And can go there to learn more about our private placement model. So our group care, and that's the nationwide referral reality. So, that's something that's available all over the U.S. So if there are families in need, if you've got social workers or school social workers that, have needs, we'd love to be able to have a family be referred to us and love to serve a kid in our group care program. And then in the state of Georgia, like we're a foster care agency here in Georgia. Mm-hmm. So if you're in the state of Georgia, interested in fostering, we would love to have a conversation about walking alongside of you to become a foster family. And then if you're a local church in Georgia as well, we'd love to help be able to mobilize and help you get a good framework of foster care ministry. I would say too, we offer that service honestly to any church around the nation. If you're interested in foster care, we can help consult to help you build a good foster care ministry within your local fellowship. So, cool. And check out our podcast, WindShape Homes. Yeah. It's on YouTube. It's on all the streaming services.
Sweet.
So do that. And then, if you want to follow us on our socials, at WindShape Homes. So very easy.
Awesome. Well done. Thank you, Callie.
It was a joy to get to hang out with you guys today.
Same for us. Thank you.
Look forward to doing it again sometime. All right. You as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, will you help us reach more people by subscribing, sharing the podcast with a friend, and leaving a 5-star review? If you've been inspired by what you've heard today and want to learn more of how you can make a difference for kids in foster care and the foster families where you live, visit americaskidsbelong.org. We depend on individual donors to fund our work. We'd be grateful if you would consider joining us as a monthly donor. Visit americaskidsbelong.org to make your tax-deductible donation. Thank you. Together, we can ensure a family for every child in foster care and a foster-friendly community to ensure every foster family feels loved and supported.